Haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph, 10 lines from the top. The Gemara brings a second question of Rav Yitzchak the Tano. The first question on Amud Beis before was asking, we have a loshoin, we have the wool that's dyed by the para aduma, and the wool that's dyed being used for the Sira Mishtalech and Yom Kippurim. One of them has a shiur, a requirement of a minimum measurement, while the other one does not. He was in safek, which one is referring to which? Now the Gemara records the second safek that he has. Says the Gemara, Omar Rabbi Yitzchok, Shtei shchitoi shomati. I heard about two different shchitois, two different slaughterings. Acha shel poro v'acha shel poroi. One of the para aduma, and one of his par, referring to the Kohen Gadol's par on Yom Kippurim. Achas ksheira bezar v'achas psula bezar. One is kosher only. Is kosher even with a zar, a non-kohen, or in this case sometimes a non-kohen gadol. And one says that as possible, it must be the kohen gadol that is shechting it. V'lo yodana hai meinayu, and I do not know which one it is referring to. Itmar. The Gemara says the following: Shchita para ufaroi. He shechts the para duma and his own para on Yom Kippurim. Rav Shmuel, there's a machlokes. Chad Omar para psula paroi kesheira. One says that the para duma will be pasul, and the paroi, his own para on Yom Kippur will be kosher. The Chad Omar, the opposite, para psula para kesheira. His para, his ox on Yom Kippurim will then be pasul, where the one, when he shechs kohen gadol, when he shechs the para aduma, will be kosher. So what one refers to one refers to the other. The Gemara tries to now prove which one is referring to who. Tistayim de Rav hu da Omar para pesula. Let us conclude that's Rav that says that it's the para that would be psula. If a non-kohen, a zar, were to then shecht the para aduma, then it would be pasul. Da Omar Rabbi Zeira Shchitas para bezar psula. Rabbi Zeir made a statement that the shchita of the para aduma by a zar is poisel. V'obar Rav Allah, and Rav said on this, Elozar v'chuka shaninuba. He brings two psukim. The first one refers to Elozar. It states, V'nosata moisa el Elozar hakohen, that he will give it to Elozar hakohen. The next pasuk says, Zois chukas ha'toiro. So you see that the fact that it says chukah, that there's a requirement that it be, as the pasuk stated before, given to Elozar HaKohen, he must then do the shchita of the para aduma, and therefore to the exclusion of a zar. So it must be that Rav is saying that if a zar is sheichet the para aduma, then it's possible. V'Rav maishna para. Why does Rav say para? A zar will make it possible because they see Elazar v'chuka, as we just said. Ask the Gemara, then paro nami hoksiv aharon v'chuka. Gabe the Kohen Gadol's par, his ox on Yom Kippurim, it also states aharon, and it says v'chuka. I'll read you the pasuk. The first pasuk in regards to Aaron states v'hikiv aharon es parachatos, and Aaron brings close the parachatos. Asher loy v'chiper ba'adu v'abeisoy v'shochet es parachat asher loy. Then the next pasuk regards to the Yom Kippur. It says v'ayisa zois lachem lechukas oilam lechaper al bnei Yisrael mikol chatoisam asher oiso achas b'shona v'yaz kasher siva Hashem es Moshe. So here it also states Aaron v'chuka. Then we should say also to the exclusion of a zar. Answers the Gemara, shchita lav avoidahi. Shchita is not avoida. In other words, in regards to the paroi, his ox on Yom Kippurim, there's dalad avoidas of the dam. There's the shchita, there's the kabbalah of the dam, the halacha, bringing it to the mizbech, and then the sprinkling, the zrikas hadam. The kohen, in this case the kohen gadol, is required from mikabbalah ve'elach, but the shchita is not required to be done by the kohen. In other words, it's not considered to be on Yom Kippur. He does do the shchita, but shchita itself, when it comes to avoida, is only from the Kabbalah ve'elach that the kohen must do the avodah, but the shechita can be done by a non-kohen, by a zar. So therefore, that's why over here, in regards to the paroi, Aaron v'chuka is not coming to say there's dafka a requirement that the kohen gadol perform the shechita, because it's not considered to be avodah. As we see that a zar can go ahead and perform the shechita in other places. Ihachi asked the Gemara, para nami. Then also when it comes to the para aduma, you can also say the same thing. Answers the Gemara, shiny para de kodshi bedek habayisi. The fact that it has kedushas damim, you're right, it's not called the avoida, but all of the procedures are considered to be then significant in that it is going to then require that be done by the kohen. V'lav called the kain who asked the Gemara, kol shekain then. Kol shekain used to say the other way. And therefore, says Rashi, bitmiya, ashchitas paroi the k'tushas haguf he loy kesiva chuka. In regards to his paroi, his ox on Yom Kippurim, there he says it doesn't write chuka in the k'tushas haguf, whereas ashchitas paroi ksiva chuka umifsila bezar. By the para aduma, there it does state that there's a chuka, and therefore that should require that if a non-kohen, a zar, does the shechita of the para aduma, it should be poisil. So kol shekain, we should say that the para aduma's shechting by a zar should poisil it. Answers the Gemara, Amar Rav Shisha, Bereid Rav Idi, Midi Dahava Amarois Negoim. Just like when it comes to the Maros HaNegoim, the showing of the Negoim, when someone has a suspicion of tzaras, then the only way it becomes tamei is when the kohen sees it and declares him to become tzaras, being tamei. The lav avoidahi uboy kehuna. There, it's not considered to be avoida, and yet it does require the kohen. So to over here, the paraduma, granted, it's not avoida, but it's still the procedure that requires the kohen. That's in regards to Rav, that says that the shechting of the paradum by a zar will be poisil. Shmuel had the other opinion. He says that the shechting of the paroi, that means the ox of the kohen gadol on the Yom Kippurim by a zar, will be poisil. Ulishmuel damar para psulo, maishna paroi. Why is paroi, his ox, going to be different? The Chsiv says Aaron v'chuka. Since it states Aaron v'chuka, the mashma dafka Aaron, and to exclusion of others. So Gemara says paranami ha. Ksiv Elazar v'chuka. Then you should also exclude a zar, because in regards to the paraduma it says Elazar v'chuka. Gemara answers shiny hasam in regards to the paraduma. It's different in regards to the paro. It's different because shani hasam dechsi v'shochat oisol lefonov, and he will shecht it in front of him. I said it wrong. The opposite. Shani hasam, there in regards to paraduma, it's different. Because the Chsiv says, V'shochat oiso lefonov, he will shecht it in front of him. Shezar sheichit ve'elazar roya. Since in front of him is referring to in front of Elazar HaKohen. So it must be the other one who's shechting must be a non-Kohen, must be someone who's not himself, not Elazar himself, a zar. V'rav shelo yasir daita mimenu. Rav learns this pasuk v'shochat oisoi lefonav to teach me that you can't be masir das in regards to this procedure of shechting the paraduma, because that requires a certain shmira from tuma, and therefore you can't divert your attention. So that's what it says v'shochat oisoi lefonav. V'shmuel shelo yasir daito minole. Where does Shmuel know that he also has to have a certain shmira as not to then divert his attention that it should become tamei? Nafkalei mivisoraf esapora le'enov. From the fact that the pasuk says, and he burns the para aduma le'enov, in front of his eyes, that itself indicates it requires a shmira to not be diverting his attention. For Rav, chad b'shchita v'chad b'sreifa. Rav learns that we need them both. One is referring to the shchita, that he can't be mesiach das, and also the other one refers to the sreifa. And Gemara explains v'tzricha, we need them both. The cause of Rachman and B'shchita, if the Torah only wrote in regards to shchita that he can't divert his attention, then mishum de tchilas avoidahi. That's because that's the beginning of the avoida. Aval sreifa emoloi, but sreif, which is later, maybe it doesn't require then a shmira from tuma, that he doesn't divert his attention, tzricha, and therefore we need also to be stating gabe sreifa. Because of Rachman b'sreifa, so if I only wrote it though, however, with sreifa, then I would think there's a requirement not to divert one's attention. Mishum dahashta hudim kashra para, because that's when the para becomes its ashes, the paraduma ashes, and becomes kosher. Then it needs a shmira that he doesn't divert his attention and allow the possibility of tuma. Aval shchita emaloi, but in regards to the shchita of the paraduma, maybe not. He doesn't require that additional shmira. Tzricha. Therefore, we need them both. Ask the Gemara, if we need them both, then lemeute mai. The fact that it states it in two places, the shchita, in regards to the shchita and the sreifa, must be coming to exclude somewhere else. Because if it was only going to include everything, every aspect of the making of the paraduma, then just make it in one place, and we'll learn out from that one place to everywhere else. A kal v'chomer. The Gemara says, so what does it come to exclude? That it comes to exclude the gathering of the ashes, as well as filling up the water for the mixing of the paraduma. Those are things that you can have hesech hadas. We don't have a special requirement to be shomer from tuma. On top of mem beis amud beis, mishmeres lemeini daksiv. For that, the pasuk says lemishmeres. It says that there should be a guarding for the meinida, for the sprinkling of this mechatos. And therefore, what does it come to exclude? Ella lemeute hashlochas eitz eres ve'ezoi v'shnitolas. The lav gufo de paraninu. It comes to exclude the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the dyed wool that are not part of the para. That does not require a shmira from hesach hadas, and therefore, these are the things that is coming to exclude. Everything else in the process of the paraduma that we mentioned, the shchita and the sreifa, and even when it comes to the gathering of the aether and the mixing of the water, all of that requires shmira from hesach hadas.